Hey, Chris, I think one of the biggest questions a lot of people ask is like, how do we find out what a good steak is, what a high quality steak is? I mean, what are some of the things that actually make a steak high quality?
When I get my Good Rancher steaks, what I always notice, what I think makes it really good is intermuscular fat, also known as marbling. Marbling is the little speckles of fat that you see within the muscle. So when you're looking at a steak, you don't want it to be totally bright red, juicy red. You want it to have a lot of fat, a lot of white in there. That's what makes it amazing. That's what makes it tender. When you cook that steak, that fat melts away and it creates awesome, awesome, delicate flavor profile.
What you're saying is that those pieces of white speckling in the actual meat, like, I mean, you can see it here beautifully here on this one. That's the flavor, right? It's like little flavor bombs.
That's the flavor. These are the flavor bombs right here. And this is where, you know, when you bite into a steak, right, and you get the juiciness, right? Nobody wants to bite into a steak and say, oh, this is really dry. We're not here to sell jerky. We're not here to eat jerky. We want juicy, juicy, flavorful product. And these are the kind of things right here that when we ship product to a customer's door, this is the experience. This is what we're trying to deliver.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question, Chris, because we're talking about fat here, but sometimes there's big pieces of fat on the outside of a steak. I've seen it a lot at grocery stores or some other places. What's the difference between Good Ranchers, the trim level, compared to like a grocery store or somewhere else?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an awesome question. Inside fat, amazing, but what we don't want is a big, barky, fatty, external fat. Some grocery stores will do that. They'll leave excessive fat on the outside trim because it helps the overall yield of the product.
Yeah, so we want the awesome fat in the middle, in the meat, and not of that fat cap on the outside, right?
Inside good, outside bad.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, you might think, okay, well, great, inside fat's great, intermuscular fat's great. Well, how does that happen? It's really through one, cattle selection. The Angus cattle will marble at a much younger age, convert feed into intermuscular fat much more efficiently than cattle, like for example, in the dairy industry, right? You see that a lot in the grocery stores where you'll get kind of a hodgepodge of like different programs, you know, some Holstein maybe some, you know, Hereford. It just lends a very inconsistent product. Right. And our product is all native cattle. We do a lot of Angus. We're able to get a really, really nice, smaller steak. We can cut them nice and thick, and it's beautiful, tender meat. The age of our cattle are 24 months or less. A lot of times what you see in the grocery store, when you go in and you see those big honking steaks and they're really wide, they might look awesome, but they typically came from a bigger animal, right? I know the older I get, I don't get any more tender, right? So that's, you know, that's not a good
Don't
attribute.
be too hard on yourself, Chris.
Well, you know.
So the age of our cattle plays a huge part in it. So the 18 to 24 months is what Angus usually goes to harvest, which keeps, correct me if I'm wrong here, which keeps it more tender, right? Yep. And then also the breed, us primarily sourcing Angus allows us to have a little bit more of the intermuscular fat because Angus produces at a high rate. It's bred to eat.
The animals, to your point, they're bred to eat, they're bred to feed, they're bred to grow, and they're bred to produce amazing quality beef. That's why Angus is so ubiquitous in the high quality beef world.
Yeah, which is why we source Angus and we don't source Holstein.
Correct. When we're sourcing our beef and we're sourcing, you know, partnering with growers, we're not concerned about what's the cheapest product, right? We're going out, we're going looking for quality. We're trying to find those Angus cattle that produce beautiful, highly marbled steaks. We're not looking for the oversized 30-month-old cattle. We're looking for immaturity, 24 months or less, and that's what we go after, right? Our product is not going to be the cheap discount. You're never going to see us with 30 steaks for $10. That's not what our subscribers want. That's not what we're trying to deliver. We are trying to deliver quality. We want you to be in the backyard, and we want you to see the difference between what you're cooking for your guests versus what your guests are cooking for you because they bought at a grocery store, right? We want you to have that experience and really offer that.
Yeah, I love it.